stop on a 5-state tour that we are making this week. This is the first stop overall in a journey that we will make across the country to talk to folks in 50 states in 50 weeks. Good morning, America. I'm Charles Gibson.
I'm Diane Sawyer. We're on the road again, and it's April 29th, Monday, 2002.
And we are in North Carolina. Good to see all of you. Good to see all of the students that are here this morning. There is a lot of news around the world. Developments in the Middle East. There were severe tornadoes overnight, all the way from Missouri to the state of Maryland. We're going to be keeping you updated on the news. But as I mentioned, this really launches a trip that Good Morning America and the rest of ABC News will be making across all of the 50 states in the next 50 weeks.
Heading on to Texas, Minnesota, California, Massachusetts, but beginning here in North Carolina, where we're not only going to talk politics, we're going to talk medical breakthroughs, and most of all, in some ways, we're going to talk about the everyday miracles of the ordinary lives, the great vitality of ordinary lives in America. But since it's spring and we're looking to the future, where best to look to the future but with college students, and that means here.
Yeah, we thought it would be very important to start on a college campus because we are talking about the future and what it means to be an American, and there are so many great universities in the state of North Carolina. Not only the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, but just over in that direction is NC State, and we have been over on that. All right, small boos from the UNC students here, but we've been over there talking to students about, very frankly, about drugs, about drinking, about sex, and we'll have that a little bit later. Over in that direction, and I have a feeling this is going to get more boos. Over in Durham is Duke. And we're going to introduce you over there to a researcher who has done some very interesting gene therapy and has found a gene that he says he thinks controls anger, which may explain why some people blow up at the slightest provocation and others stay calm.
Right, with life-threatening anger, in fact. And Charlie and I spent a night in the dorm over the weekend, and we had a lot of reflective conversations. We had a lot of great times. I could have done without the water fight, okay? The water fight, I could have lived with it. But we're going to take you inside the dorm to talk about the aspirations and vulnerabilities of college students today. But let's go to Robin Roberts right now and give you the news.
Reliving your college days. All right, Diane, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. A wide swath of the country is cleaning up from a... That is our first look at the news at 7:07. Now back to the big man on campus, Charlie in North Carolina.
All right, thanks very much, Robin. It is good always to be back on a campus. We're going to go to Tony Perkins, has the weather of the morning. He's over in a different area of the campus called the Pit. Every campus seems to have a pit, and he has more news on those tornadoes that hit from, as we mentioned, Missouri all the way up into Maryland. Tony?
I sure do, Charlie. Before we tell you a little bit about the Pit and what's happening here at UNC, let's talk about the violent weather that we saw over the course of the weekend. Some 34 tornadoes in 12 states, causing 6 deaths. In La Plata, Maryland, which is in southern Maryland, 3 people were killed when a tornado moved through. Up to 70 people were injured, and there were massive amounts of damage done in that community. In Missouri, Illinois, and Maryland, the tornadoes at this point are believed to have been F2 to F4 tornadoes, the F4 being the stronger of those tornadoes. For today, there's a threat of severe weather from the south central plains into the lower Mississippi River Valley into the southeast. We could see isolated tornadoes again today in this region, large hail and strong wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour. We'll tell you about the rest of the nation's weather coming up in just a little bit. That's a look at what's happening around the nation now. Here's what's happening in your neighborhood.
Yes, good morning. I'm meteorologist Chris Holman, and alongside Tony Perkins, we have fair skies here on the UNC campus in Chapel Hill. 65 here. It's 68 degrees in Durham, 70 in Fayetteville now, and 71 Rocky Mount. A few storms around yesterday, but they're long gone, and we'll have plenty of sunshine today. It's going to be beautiful around here. Less humid, breezy this afternoon, and look for lots of sunshine. 77, 46 tonight. Tomorrow, 78 degrees with clouds increasing, some scattered storms on Wednesday.
We're going to have more from the Pit coming up in just a little bit. A lot of folks have turned out here. Charlie, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Tony. We start with our newsmaker of the morning, Senator John Edwards, Democrat of North Carolina. Some say even a possible presidential candidate to run against George Bush in the year 2004. A possible presidential candidate, and yet most people have heard very little or maybe even nothing about him. So U.S. News says, who can beat Bush? Can you? Could you?
Well, you know, I see my friends. We're in a familiar place. I haven't made any decision about that. You know, I think at the appropriate time we'll figure that out. And the American people, I think, when we get to the election, not only the 2002 election, but the 2004 presidential election, we'll have clear choices. I think.
Well, and
Get
that's
to be with
good
you.
to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Diane?
All right, Charlie, thanks. Well, as we said over the weekend, we had a great night because Charlie and I got to spend a night at the Dorm. We went over to Duke University and stayed there. And coming up, we're going to show you a little bit of what happened all night long and some of the things we learned, some of the revelations. But we thought we'd begin with a kind of preview of what we found. Here it is. Look at our pad. It's fantastic.
Good to see you.
We go back to the future. It's Dorm Life 2002.
My roommates, juniors Eugene and Robert, and a sophomore, Armando. This is, that's Mondi, and that's Eugene, right?
That's pretty good.
I'm learning
That's
you guys.
very good.
I'm learning you guys.
That's
Okay.
very good.
What's new? Right away, I noticed that Brady from Nebraska and Rachel from North Carolina are wired like a NASA
Looking around
launch.
this room, we have a laptop over there, we have a laptop over there, we have cell phones and beepers, and we are so connected that, you know, nothing really happens in the world without us sort of knowing about it.
We will learn a lot about each other in this long night of...
Retreat, retreat! From water fights to real-world discussions, the night had just begun.
Anyway, we'll bring you more of our night at the Dorm coming up. So, I want to introduce everybody to Wade. And
this is Keavany, who has a very handsome shirt, I think. Very nice. He may love Charlie, but at the moment, no, this is, oh, I'm sorry. Keavany, you've let me down. Keavany, you've let me down. Okay, let's go back. Come on.
Wade and I, on the other hand, are groomed for television. We just wave and are smiling. When we come back, we're going to tell you about some other things we did here in North Carolina. We had a great Sunday night supper. We asked you to tell us where to go, and so you did. And coming up, we're going to show you a little bit about that.
Did we just show the little water fight in that piece? Was that in the
Did we?
piece?
We did.
Yes.
Yeah, we should.
Yes. I thought the reason that happened was I thought you were armed. You kept talking about pillow fights or whatever. I thought you were coming down. I went in to the dorm room and I said, I'll bet Diane's got water guns. And I said, I wish we had some. And those guys in the room produced about 20 of them right out of the closet. And up we came. I didn't realize we were taking on an unarmed posse.
This is how it begins, because I, of course, was making you cookies and thinking, what can I bring Charlie so he'll sleep well tonight? And you came and attacked me.
Anyway, we will see more of our night in the dorm. We
And it's
had
very
some
thoughtful.
very interesting conversations with some very thoughtful kids. And
Say
we'll be back with
goodbye,
Morning
Wade.
America. Stay with us. Good morning, America. I'm Charles Gibson, and we're worried about getting kicked in the rear right here.
It's so great to be back with you down here in North Carolina.
Behind us is the North Carolina Pep Band. We've got about a third of the band here. And these are some North Carolina dancers. This is part of a dance team. Every time they kick, I get nervous. This is part of a dance team, many of them performing at the North Carolina athletic events, needless to say.
That's right, and coming up in this half hour, we're going to take you back inside the dorm where Charlie and I spent the night. And again, let you get a chance to know these great kids a little better, of the special things that confront you in this day and age, and also the things that haven't changed at all over the years. That's coming up.
And we went out partying with them a little bit as
Yeah,
well.
we did.
Also in this half hour, you're going to meet a researcher over at Duke who has isolated what he calls an anger gene, which would explain why some people immediately jump to such quick anger. And also a little bit later in the program, we're going to have a story, because you can't come to North Carolina without talking about NASCAR. And you're going to meet a preacher who travels the NASCAR circuit and is really the last person to touch many of the drivers before they go out on the track. So all that's coming up.
Love NASCAR. Yes, but right now we want to take you, as we said, back inside the dorm, because we met with such great kids. They're studying everything from biology to ecology. We had a lot of chances to sit and talk with them through the night, and a chance to learn a little more about their ambitions, their vulnerabilities, and the future as they see it. Here again, our night in the dorm.
North Carolina, the soccer champs.
Yes, Diane, we are talking soccer. I've got the goalie gloves. I've got my own jersey that was given me. More importantly, I've got the net, and I've got the Tar Heels, the UNC men's national championship soccer team. I'm going to try my hand at being a goalie in just a moment. First, let's take a look at what's happening with the weather around the nation. We start with what's happening in the eastern United States. On the nation now, here's what's happening in your neighborhood. All right, this weather report brought to you by Benadryl. Let's see how we do here. I've got to protect the net. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Oh, this is easy. I got this. Best I can. Stay with us. We're going to have more Good Morning America coming up in just a couple of moments. We're going to find out if there's possibly a gene that makes you angry. Stay with us.
All right, I'm over here, and I want to celebrate all of you who came here at 9 o'clock last night. We want to tell you about something brand new, a real medical breakthrough. You know these people who erupt in anger, you probably felt it yourself, an explosive outburst of anger, the kind of people who fight over a parking space and end up having a heart attack. Well, this morning we're going to tell you about something completely new, as we said, and it's here in North Carolina. Over at Duke, Dr. Redford Williams has been working on anger research, and he's uncovered something he thinks everybody should know about, and we sent Dr. Timothy Johnson out to find out more. Here it is. So I'm here now with Dr. Redford Williams of Duke, who did this research. It's good to have you with us. You know, it sounds like genes, and you say, that's it, I can't do anything. They're my destiny. Can you nevertheless protect yourself against the health problems from anger?
Of course you can, Diane. Everything is gene and environment interactions, and if you have a gene that makes you more reactive to stress, then you need to learn how to manage stress better. You need to learn how to manage your anger.
So you can do it even if it's genetic, by what?
By saying to yourself every time you get angry, annoyed, I am worth it. That's a very important message. And the I tells you to ask, is this important? If it's trivial, let it go. Is what I'm thinking and feeling in this anger appropriate? Would any person be angry now? If not, talk yourself out of it. Is the situation modifiable? If you're stuck in a traffic jam and angry, there's nothing you can do about it, so chill.
So even if you have a genetic compulsion to explode, you're saying you can talk yourself back from the health
You can talk yourself out of it, and indeed research has shown that heart patients who learn to manage their anger do reduce their levels of hostility and blood pressure and have fewer days in hospital during the 6 months after they've gotten that training.
But so many people say they're already there and they're already erupting before they even know to think. You're just saying train yourself over and over again, like make it a reflex.
I am worth it. Important, appropriate, modifiable, and is it worth it to take action? You have two choices. You can change the situation or you can change your reaction. But you have to be rational in deciding which. And by practicing it, you can learn to do it. You know, you don't wait until the game is on the line with 1 point behind and the last 2 seconds with the front end of a 1-and-1 free throw to start practicing free throws, do you? No, you do it day in and day out. And by trying this technique, by asking yourself, is this important, etc., you can, day in and day out, make this automatic for yourself.
Our thanks to you, Dr. Williams. Go online to learn more. We'll be back.
That really was a terrific moment from last Friday as Sandy Bass and Junius Chambers surprised at their home right here in North Carolina, finding out that they were the couple you had chosen to get married in Times Square on May 17th. Did you have any idea?
No, I did not.
Sandy is with us, and this was purely coincidence. You happened to choose them because it was you who voted as to who would get married in Times Square, but pure coincidence that we were coming to North Carolina a couple of days after we told you were going to get married in Times Square. And it's very appropriate that you be standing in the midst of the North Carolina cheerleaders because...
I am an assistant coach, one of them.
And you were?
A cheerleader here at Carolina, 89 to 93.
All right, all right. And we're going to have the cheerleaders at the beginning of the next half hour with us.
Yeah, and I just want to point out something. I want you to take a look at the relative weights of these two people, and you will see why I am not the person being tossed over anybody's head ever. We'll be back.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Sears.
All right, I just want to say Charlie's already asked Dad here for money for Amber. So, Dad, there she is. There she is.
Steve Daniels on ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
GFA, the place to be. We welcome you to UNC. Tony, Charlie, and Diane, you are our favorite Tar Heel fans. Come on!
Stand behind this animal. I'm going to give him wide clearance.
I was going to say, do I have a license to drive this thing? I don't know. I'm Diane Sawyer. Hello again.
And I'm Charles Gibson. Good morning, America. It is nice to have you with us from the campus of the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. I keep saying I have never seen so many college students awake at 8 o'clock in the morning, much less 7. It was incredible to have them all here. And we thank the cheerleaders from North Carolina and a young man who just took his life in his hands coming across the grass here. This is a beginning. I hope you could hear the "We Love You, Charlie" chant. I've been encouraging it all morning long. But this is the beginning of a tour. We go through 5 states in 5 days this week. The part of a year-long effort by ABC News to go to all 50 states over the year.
Right, and our friend who also got up in the morning is Ramses, and he is the mascot of the Tar Heels, right?
What do you mean, right? Do you want the Ram to answer you? Were you asking him a question?
Yes, I'm such a professional interviewer. I can make anybody talk. Are you ready here? No, I just want to see where he begins under here. Oh, yes, he's way down in there. And thanks to all of you for getting up early, including his wonderful handlers over there. Thank you very much, all of you. I want to tell you what's coming up in this half hour because we have Dr. Drew Pinsky with us, and he goes on MTV. You probably know about him, all of you college students. And he really gets college kids to open up in a way nobody else can, to tell them the truth about some of the tough things they're going through. And I think you're going to find that your eyes are open this morning.
And we couldn't come, as we mentioned, to North Carolina without doing a story about NASCAR, and you're going to meet a very interesting man. He goes around, travels around the circuit along with his wife and kids. He is the preacher for the NASCAR drivers. He's part of an effort as we introduce you to amazing families all across the country. There are families doing really some pretty extraordinary things, and in each state that we visit, we will introduce you to an amazing family.
And we were also grateful to have a Sunday night supper because we asked all of you out there to tell us where to go, and we got an invitation to supper outside of town, and we're going to take you there and tell you about the amazing chocolate syrup cake, among
and the
other
biscuits
things.
and the pork chops.
Right. Let's go to Robin Roberts now, though, because she's got the news. We'll be back.
Looks like y'all having a good time. Good morning again, everyone. The news at 8:05. Back to North Carolina and Tony. And Tony, I have to say it was great that the men's soccer team at North Carolina won their first national championship. But did you know the women of North Carolina have won 15 NCAA soccer championships, including 9 in a row at one point?
And have been dominating, that's right, with Mia Hamm, of course. And I know that, Robin. Don't worry. I wouldn't overlook that.
Okay, just want to make sure. But you did look good in goal, I have to say, Tony. You look good in goal there.
Thank you. I tried my best. Now, take a look at this. We're featuring as much as we can. These are the men of the Mu Zeta chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha. It is the oldest college fraternity for African-American men. They are performing a step routine for us. Just take a look at this and listen to this for a little bit before we get to the weather. this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. There are actually step competitions that go on. They are the homecoming step show champions. For those of you who don't know, step is a fusion of African traditional dancing, tap, jazz, and contemporary modern jazz or modern dance. Now, take a look at what's happening with the weather around the nation. We are going to be seeing some thunderstorm activity, possibly some violent thunderstorm activity.
And Dr. Drew Pinsky joins us now. I gotta say, Drew, listening to this is pretty scary. It sounds as if kids are in a sea of freedoms without a whole lot of ability to set boundaries.
Yeah, that's right. And maybe one point to come out of this would be parents ought to keep talking to their kids through college, that they need dialogue, they need guidance, they need structure. But they seem to get through one way or another. And,
now, what is this thing about no dating? It sounds so bizarre.
Isn't that bizarre? Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
It's hooking up, joined at the hip, or a friend with benefits. These are the three choices. And it seems to me one of the solutions to a lot of the unhappiness that some of the kids are feeling about their social lives would be just spending time together as two human beings connecting. At least a couple of experiences together before you decide if this is someone you want to hook up or not. They also are missing the whole opportunity to develop a sense of themselves in relationships with other people because they're not really developing relationships. They're either sort of jumping into sort of a hostage situation or they're hooking up with somebody intoxicated, always intoxicated, somebody they never see again.
It seems so strange, though, this idea that you go out on a date and you don't know what to do. Because I was told this, too, when I spent the night at the dorm.
They don't know how to date.
You don't know how to date.
They don't know how to ask people out. They don't know how to say yes or no to dates. There's not the usual sort of landmarks or milestones that a social structure needs. It's like we've sort of erased the blackboard, and these guys have to sort of figure out a new structure. And I believe they will. They're kind of grappling with it. Interestingly, I've noticed a rather dramatic change since 9/11. That kids seem to be sort of getting it together. And interestingly, even more so here in the Southeast, I'm seeing a lot of sort of mutuality and respect in their relationships. I was over at University of Mississippi a couple weeks ago, and the freshman class dating like crazy and happy.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
All right, again, big messages. It's still important to talk to your kids all the way through college.
And as you see,
a lot of them.
alcohol, drugs, these are big issues.
Yeah.
And alcohol, binging, the way I get the attention of these kids is tell them these binges on alcohol can affect their academic performance for 7 to 10 days. They seem to be hearing that message.
All right, thanks to you, Drew. And again, we know that this is graphic and pretty raw stuff, but we think it's important to tell you how it really is. We'll be back.
Standing here in front of the bell tower, which is one of the landmarks on the University of North Carolina campus. As we travel around the country, we're going to be introducing you to amazing families in each state. And today we're going to introduce you to the family of the man they call the Pit Stop Preacher. He is the Reverend Dale Beaver, and he holds the title of chaplain for the Winston Cup NASCAR circuit. He is a fellow who travels around with the drivers, ministering to their needs. If you see him down on the track holding a grease rag, well, he's actually a man of a different kind of cloth.
You senior?
Absolutely. These are the Tar Heel Voices. It's just one of the great a cappella groups that are on so many of the campuses. We're going to have some more a cappella music a little bit later. But this was a regular song that is in their normal repertoire. Every concert they go to, they're singing Good Morning America's Good Things Are Happening.
Yeah, thank you for that special arrangement. It never sounded, well, it has sounded as good, but never better. I have to say that in homage to the guy who wrote it.
Anyway, we say Good Morning America. I'm Charles Gibson.
And
And you're Charles Gibson's
I'm
what?
Charles Gibson's friend, Diane.
It is a great pleasure to be here on the University of North Carolina campus, and as we've mentioned a number of times, this is the beginning of a 5-state tour over 5 days, but really part of an effort over the year when we'll be traveling to all 50 states around the country.
Right, and we're going to have a great week this week. Don Daler has been in North Carolina, and he has been from the Outer Banks over to the mountains, and he's going to take you on a trip. Well, it's a kind of route whatever trip across North Carolina here and tell you about his adventures along the way, some of the things he's seen, tell you, for instance, how houses compare. What can you buy for a certain amount of money in this region as opposed to another?
And he's also going to show you how NASCAR and moonshine go together.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll explain. It's a long story. But we had a chance. So not all people told us. We asked you to tell us where to go when we visited various states. And we got a lot of emails, people telling us where to go in North Carolina.
Right. Linda Heisen, for instance, a bank branch manager from Brevard, North Carolina, up in the mountains, wrote to tell us about the amazing, beautiful waterfalls up there, 250 of them in Transylvania County in western North Carolina. But the one we took up on her offer was Cynthia Carroll, her husband Doug, and she said, okay, I dare you all. Come to my house for Sunday supper. I dare you, I dare you. And guess what? Be careful. These are going to be on abcnews.com later today if you want to check in, because they were truly terrific.
Yeah, they were truly terrific. Let's get the weather of the morning. Go to Tony Perkins. Tony?
All right, Charlie, thank you very much. Before we get to the weather, we want to talk about some of the latest campus trends here at UNC. And we've solicited some of our some student models to join us to show us what they've got, what they're wearing, what they're eating, all that type of thing. This is Ashlyn Gorse, who is a senior here at UNC, and she is a member of the Alpha Delta Pi sorority, which is in the house. She's carrying a Vera Bradley bag, and these are popular here. Everyone's carrying those around. Also, please note the fingernail polish. It is, of course, Tar Heel blue. Yes, and the t-shirt that I'm told almost every woman on campus has, UNC Carolina Girls, best in the world. And guys, if you're considering colleges to go to, I'm told the ratio of men to women, it's 40 men for every 60 women, something like that. Yeah, there you go. All right, here is John. This is John Wallace. He is carrying a Nalgene water bottle. These are apparently all the rage. It's a water bottle, folks. He's also wearing rainbow sandals that I'm told students even wear when it's 40 degrees outside. Very nice. Thank you, John. And Matt DeAugustinos has been kind enough to wear the Ram mask. Ramsey's, of course, the mascot for the Tar Heels. You look great. Thank you very much, Matt. Also, foods, popular foods, a great late night snack here in town. This is from Gumby's, but a lot of places carry it. It's called Pokey Sticks. It's pizza without the sauce, strips of pizza. Would you all like to have some early morning pizza? I'm sure you've done this before. This is not new to you. There you go. And it smells absolutely fantastic. Once I get done with the weather, I'm going to try that. Thank you for joining us. Now, we want to introduce to you my friend Chris Holman from WTVD here in Durham. He does the weather.
Hey,
good
Tony.
to see you. How
Thanks.
you doing?
Good to have you here. We're delighted you're all here.
We're happy to be here. Thank you for having us. So we've been talking weather stuff this morning, and you've had quite a bit of stuff going on here in North Carolina. The bad news, and I've been talking about this nationally, are the drought conditions.
Yeah, up and down the East Coast, and here in the Triangle, the Raleigh-Durham area, we're 7-8 inches below average for the past year or so. Every time the rain comes across the mountains and dries up, we just don't get much.
You had a little bit of rain, but it moved to the north of here yesterday.
One storm north of Raleigh and Durham yesterday, and that was it.
All right, Chris is going to do the honors for us. Now, if you're watching in this area, you're going to see something weird in just a moment.
That's
when
right.
I throw it to Chris, but you'll see it. Take a look at the local forecast. Chris will tell us about that.
Okay, around here, around the region today, in the local area, we're going to see plenty of sunshine and temperatures up into the mid to upper 70s around here today. Tonight down to 46, and tomorrow up to 78 degrees, more sunshine around the area.
Please do the honors. Why don't we go right into the national forecast? There you go.
Okay, and looks like we're going to see some severe storms across the deep south today with plenty of sun to the north, but across Louisiana into northern parts of portions of Texas back into Florida. Look out for some scattered storms, some showers in the upper Midwest and also out in the far west. But right here in the Carolinas, Virginia, looks very nice.
Not bad. I think one of the big weather stories around the nation is going to be that storm system moving into California and the western portions of the nation. All right, that's a look at what's happening with the weather around the nation. Now, here's what's happening in your neighborhood.
Plenty of sunshine. Tony's back here with me for all the folks watching locally. Tony, nice day here.
It is a wonderful day here. Thank you. We love this weather.
Yes,
Thank you.
it's going to be nice. 77 today and up to 78 tomorrow with plenty of sun.
All right, thank you very much. This weather report brought to you by Revlon. Chris Holman, thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
joining
Tony.
us.
We appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you,
to see you.
everybody.
You know Summit?
The great North Carolina writer Thomas Wolfe said that spring in North Carolina burst forth in a million shouts of triumph. So we thought, what the heck, why don't we get Don Daler in a red convertible and send him across the state to tell us about this amazing state that has produced everything from presidents of the United States to Krispy Kreme donuts to Pepsi to miniature golf. I mean, what more can you ask for fun? Here he is, driving on the road with Don Daler.
As far as states go, North Carolina is an overachiever. Don't let its sleepy southern charms fool you. Down here, it's all about being first.
100 years ago, the Wright brothers chose the Outer Banks of North Carolina for the site of their first flight. And people have been coming here to fly ever since.
The very first miniature golf course was built in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
The very first gold rush in America happened in North Carolina.
The Outer Banks are summer home to thousands of vacationers each year and a permanent home to the country's third largest film industry. In fact, a lot of famous people came from North Carolina.
Ava Gardner.
Andy Griffith.
Dolly Madison.
Maya Angelou.
Thelonious Monk.
Michael Jordan!
As you head west, sand turns to farmland, where tradition has deep roots. Tobacco brings $814 million a year to the state. The Blaylock family has been growing it for over 80 years.
This is some carryover tobacco left over from our 2001 crop. We were fortunate last year to have an exceptional crop.
But David might be the last in his family to plant it. The future of tobacco farming is dim.
I never got up a day in my life and dreaded going to work and working with my dad all my life. That's something that you can't replace.
High tech is where many Carolinians see their state going. Research Triangle Park near Raleigh employs over 30,000 scientists and computer programmers. And when trouble happens anywhere in the world, chances are the first soldiers on the ground come from one of North Carolina's 7 military bases. Your bureau drawers probably hail from North Carolina. 60% of the furniture made in America comes from the Piedmont area. Around Asheville, $220,000 will buy you this much house, and $1 million will get you this. But when the highway climbs into the Blue Ridge Mountains, the clock slows down and almost seems to stop at times. It's not so much that traditions die hard up here, they just live longer.
So, road dude himself is here, Don Daler. So what's this diner thing?
Well, you eat like a canary. I saw you at the breakfast table this morning. You don't eat much, but and NASCAR racing have in common.
We found ourselves making our way through dense woods to a small stream where, tucked away in the trees, sat a moonshine still.
You take corn and you make corn liquor.
Clay Call explains how, with a mixture of sugar, corn, and sometimes rye or yeast, 3 days was all it took to make White Lightning. His buddy Miller Ashley was the one who delivered this stuff.
It's just exactly 20 cases fitted in the back and the extra tire.
The cars were fast, the men were young, one thing led to another, and a sport was born. Stock car racing began with moonshiners racing each other. It just so happens that the day we met Clay, his nephew Chad was racing in nearby Hickory. We stopped by just in time to see him win.
Chad Call, winner tonight in the Hickory Motor Speedway.
Like the track they race on, sometimes history comes full circle.
Pontiac is in overdrive, and it's a great
to fully understand the fight for the.
One of the reasons truly we love coming on college campuses is because there is such great music on campuses, particularly from the a cappella groups. Many of them on each campus, and you're about to meet a group from the University of North Carolina called the Clefhangers. Now, a cappella groups have their own sort of version of the Grammys, and this group was nominated for 2 of them for their 10th CD. Presumably that you made some before you guys got on campus, right? This is just your version of the CD. But they're going to give us a song famous song from James Taylor, whose dad was once dean of the medical school here on the University of North Carolina campus. This is from the Clefhangers, Carolina on My Mind.
In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine? Hit me from behind. Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Carrying she's a silver sun. You best walk away and watch it shining, and watch her watch the morning come. A silver tear appearing now. I'm crying and I'm gone to Carolina. Mine. Dark and silently last night, think I might have heard the highway call. To geese in flights and dogs that bite. Signs that might be omens say I'm going, I'm gone to Carolina, mine. With a holy host of others standing around me, still I'm on the dark side of the moon. And it seems like it goes on like this forever. You must forgive me. If I'm up and gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't he just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I've gone to Carolina in my mind. Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. I'm gone, I'm gone.
Allergy relief without the shots. An experimental new treatment that could spell relief for you. Plus, coming to their rescue, the Panda Project on World News Tonight.
Just before we leave, we are joined by the Chancellor of the University of North Carolina, James Measer. It is a great pleasure to be on your campus, and I think all of us feel, you know, if anybody's worried about the future of this country, when you come on campuses like this, with all the energy of the kids, and when you visit Duke and North Carolina State, these are a great group of kids, and it must be a privilege to be head of a university like this.
It's the best job in the world. It really is. And of course, this is the greatest university, but you're right. America should be optimistic. This is our future, and they're great kids.
Yeah, they really are. There is so much energy among these kids.
I want to tell everybody, too, walking around here, what we can't do is let you smell the honeysuckle and the blooms, the blossoms. It really is just like being in heaven here. We mean it.
Now, let's get to the T-shirts that you're going to get.
We got a Carolina T-shirt for Diane.
Yeah. Love it.
And a Carolina T-shirt, Charlie, for you.
Very good.
Carolina on the front.
Thank you very much. This is Jen Dom, our student body president.
Thank you.
This is for you, Charlie. Jen is
Nice
from
to meet you.
Wisconsin.
Senior?
Thank you so much.
I got a soccer jersey, so I'm quite excited.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, it's been a privilege to be on the campus.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we will see you tomorrow from Minnesota.
Go, team!
They keep telling me to keep talking. I want to play. We're losing. We're losing. Here we go. Here. Oh.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now reaching out to more Americans across the nation.